This segment brought to you by AARP.
Okay. Oh, shoot. It's WBLS 107.5. Is my show being sponsored by AARP? Is that what Eddie Love just said? My gosh.
This segment brought to you by AARP.
Isn't that what the old people, my parents do that? Well, it is what it is. This is the number one station for the old Crow set. And people who like to reminisce with the good music. Oh, today's R&B classic soul. Woo! And the Wendy Williams Experience. The square peg in a round hole. I love it here, though. These are my peeps. The legendary WBLS. Where this segment is sponsored by... Damn. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying that.
This segment brought to you
oh my
by
God.
AARP.
You can't even be a member of AARP until you're 58 or 80. Oh my gosh. I mean, you go to the movies and you get 10% off your AA. You show them your AARP card. Oh. That's the Geritol. Damn. Well, they're young at heart, though. Anybody who's listening to this particular show and this radio station who might be a member of AARP, age is nothing but a number, and that's how you all operate your life. And I know you do. I've seen you before. 80 looking 60. Oh, yeah. 60 looking 40. I've seen you. Some women have all the time in the world to spend on their hair. Others rarely have time to get out the door. What's your story? For hair that fits your life, you'll love JCPenney Salon's unique, personalized 3-step approach. First, they consult. What are you looking for? How much time do you have? Based on what you want and need, they'll create your cut and color. Then they'll show you how to style it yourself. Your life, your hair. JCPenney Salons. Call today, 1-800-542-5565 for locations. It's 107.5 WBLS. Today's R&B and classic soul. I'm Wendy Williams, and this is the Wendy Williams Experience. Every weekday from 2 to 7 p.m. It's my pleasure to be here to serve you good people, make you smile, make you laugh, make you hate, make you love. But most importantly, let me entertain you. I'm enjoying our conversation with Stacy Brown. With his book, Michael Jackson, The Man Behind the Mask. Yes, he co-wrote it with Bob Jones, and he is dropping it the way he sees, and the way many of us agree. But perhaps we're just too nervous to say, because for some reason, because Michael is black, we're not supposed to be talking about it. We're supposed to sweep it under the rug like we do with so many things in our communities. But no, we're talking about it today. And shout out to LK. LK is in Brooklyn. LK is so cute. So you remember last hour was sponsored by AARP. And I was kind of stunned by that because, you know, damn, that's for the old people. And I was a little stunned. So LK in Brooklyn faxes me, Wendy, who are you calling an old crow? I'm a 50-year-old man who belongs to AARP, as does my wife, all for just $12.50 a year. Laugh all you want to, but at the end of September, I'm going to New Orleans to visit my daughter in college, and I'm staying at the legendary Ritz-Carlton for $204 a night. Try that, you young whippersnapper. Yeah, because they get those discounts. I have an aunt that refuses to join AARP because, you know, she just does not want to, she discount schmishcount at the movies and everything. You know, I am not old and I will not, you know, like that. God. Well, this is the number one choice for many people in the afternoon. All kind of people listen to the show. I know when I'm out, I get, you know, hi Wendy's, everybody from, you know, 10-year-olds to 80-year-olds and everybody in between. So I'll take it. And shout out to everybody who, egads, is old enough to be in AARP. If I'm lucky, I'll be there one day too. So I'm grateful that you listen. Thank you. I hope I am the daughter in your head. Hey, who wants to see Destiny's Child? I know that's a stupid question. Everybody does. Destiny's Child, Saturday, July 30th at Nassau Coliseum. Oh, it's going to be a spectacular show. But you know this, man. You already know. Because it's Pepsi Thursday here on WBLS. And your winning is courtesy of Pepsi. Pepsi, the number one soft drink here on the Wendy Williams Experience. I know I've got my Diet Pepsi sitting here on the counter. And of course, it's also brought to you your tickets courtesy of your radio station for today's R&B and classic soul. So now, caller number 10 right now is going to pick up those passes. And shout out to everyone in Mount Vernon. Today is Thursday, tomorrow's Friday, and you know what that means. That means that the big jump off of the jump off is Lounge 42. It's on 42 West Broad Street, and the WBLS broadcast is, that's what we do at Lounge 42. Doors open up at 11 o'clock, and the party doesn't stop until 4 in the morning. Ladies, 23 and older, gentlemen, 25 and older at Lounge 42. This and every Friday night. Art, how are you feeling about our interview with Stacy Brown? I know you're like the biggest Michael Jackson fan, probably on the entire 41st floor.
Yes, I am.
Here at WBLS.
Well, I have questions.
Why come forward now if children were involved? Why wait till you were fired to write the tell-all book? Are you seeking revenge, and why should we believe your ass? That is exactly how we formulate. Why should we believe your ass?
How you doing?
And then Art told him, as he was walking out of the room to go to the pink room after the break, Art said, Stacy, waiting for Stacy Brown to turn around. When he turned around, Art looked at him and said, how you doing? And spread his bottom lip all greased up. How you doing? And Stacy just looked at him and laughed. Are you feeling hostile?
I'm very hostile.
I'm not asking him any of these questions. Why would he come forward? Well, why come forward now if there were children involved? I guess you're right.
Yeah.
How much were you paid while you were... Oh, wait, he wasn't on the Michael Jackson payroll, though.
The other how you doing was...
Well, I'm sure he was paid to write the speeches, though.
Yeah.
Why wait till you were fired to write a tell-all book? Because you can't write a tell-all book until you finish telling it all. Or learning it all.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I want to write another tell-all book, but I've told all up until this point. Now I got to live some more.
Right.
God willing, once I get into AARP, I would have some more living under my belt, and then I'll write the rest of the story.
There's not about people that held you down for years, though. Michael held them down for years.
It very well might be. It depends. You'll have to see how things unfold here at WBLS. I have no shame in my game, and I'll see how you hold me down, too. That's right. Anybody in my cipher is subject to a tale or three in any book that I write once I get to the AARP stage. So watch out now. I might change your name. I'll call you Carther Mevins. You know what I'm saying? I'll thinly veil it.
What you gonna call me?
Skever Lollylud. Skever Peckerwood. You see what I'm saying? Oh, boy. And I'll change Elisa, the booker's name, to Alicia.
That's too obvious.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be an obvious read.
Oh.
Are you seeking revenge? And why should we believe your ass? I'm not asking him any of this stuff. Oh, there's another request that I had. I'm really into, I want to hear Diana Ross, and I want to hear It's My Turn. Yes. That song always makes me cry. So if you don't mind, as soon as this song goes on, if everybody can just leave the room for a moment and dim the lights and leave the box of Kleenex here on the console.
What song?
It's my turn. It's my turn. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. It's my turn. Don't you love that song? I very rarely elect to slow it down. But
It's the boss.
yeah, Diana Ross. Let's ask Stacy Brown a question about Diana Ross.
Here you go.
Well, if you want to play this, we got to go to break now.
Okay, well, let's continue. It's 107.5 WBLS.
Yo, did you catch this flashback?
Tracy Ellis gave us a pow shot on the inside of the Essence, and her mom, and just beautiful. I read the article. I was just like, oh. And Diana sitting in the bed, hair just fanned out all over the place, you know.
And her kids giving her new hope.
The kids giving her new hope. And hopefully the number to a dentist. I'm just saying. I mean, they'll get around to that. Those teeth are bad.
This it right here. Miss a day, miss a whole lot. Coming through your speakers, boy. It's Wendy, man.
I never get tired of this show, boy, I'll tell you. All right, we're having conversation with Stacy Brown. Mr. Marcus is he's still at the airport, so he's on his way. I might have to get with Mr. Marcus during the bonus hour of the show, and then for everybody who's listening nationally, we will play that interview back for you during a day that I'll be taking off, which I just found out will be sometime soon, so... Anyway, enough about that. It's Stacy Brown in the studio. Stacy, to reiterate, first of all, if you're just turning on the show, you missed the first break. We were dropping jewels. He co-wrote a book with Bob Jones. The book is called An Insider Story of the King of Pop, Michael Jackson, the man behind the mask. I'm not going to go through Stacy's credentials. If you miss a moment, you miss a lot here on the show, but we'll judge over it once you leave. Let's talk about Rebe Jackson.
Okay.
The Jackson family story has always left it pretty ambiguous what Rebe's relationship was with Joe Jackson.
Yeah, LaToya wrote in her book that Rebe was actually, when she was a child, raped by Joe Jackson. However, Rebe denies that. She vehemently, is that the right word?
Okay.
Denies it.
Mm-hmm.
She did, however, say that Joseph did act inappropriately toward her when she was a child. So she's been kind of, she likes to stay in the background. She doesn't like the spotlight. And she had the big hit in the 80s, Centipede. Mm-hmm. She's done a few things since, but she's low key. She's, living in Las Vegas. Her husband is very successful, very nice family. Mm-hmm. She has 3 children. The 2 daughters, both are married. In fact, they're expecting her oldest daughter is expecting her first child any day now.
Wow.
Now. Yeah.
How old is Rebe now, approximately?
Rebe is 54.
Look at that.
Yeah, 54, 55.
So also in Las Vegas is the jump-off daughter of Joe Jackson's lover.
That's correct.
Was that the turning point, even more of a turning point in the relationship for Joe and Catherine?
Well, it was more of a turning point for the rest of the family, another turning point for the rest of the family, because like I said earlier, look, they just couldn't understand why she stays with him. And even now, it's like, what does he have?
Meaning, why does Catherine stay with Joe?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. It's been a disaster for them psychologically. Yeah. It's been a disaster watching Joseph and his antics, I should say. Mm-hmm. The man is 77 years old, and he's still, hanging out with 20-something women.
Yeah.
30-something, 20-something. I mean, young women.
Wow.
Yeah, baby.
Does he take good care of this extra daughter?
Well, that I'm not sure. I've met her a number of times. She's a very nice person. Mm-hmm. They have their moments, but I think she handles him better than the Jacksons handle him. Yeah.
Is her
Jackson
last name
kids.
Jackson?
Yeah.
Oh God. Does her name start with a J too?
Yeah, it does.
Oh crap!
You didn't know that?
No, I tried to turn away like a bad accident.
I'm not
going to
say her name, but it does start with a J.
Damn! Does Janet have a child?
I heard you talk about that before, and no, she doesn't have a child, to my knowledge.
Okay.
And I heard some people say, "Oh yeah, the child's living with Rebe." Look, no child lives with Rebe.
That it did not come from Rebe's own area.
Yeah, and Catherine certainly doesn't take care of a child that belongs to Janet. Janet, for far as I know, no, she doesn't have a child.
Okay. Do Catherine and Joe, when they are together at the compound, do they share the same bedroom?
To my knowledge, they do.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I don't go into their suite, but
right.
I know when they go to bed. I mean, I've spent many a nights there, and when they go to bed in the same bedroom.
Yeah. Mm. Joe's birthday party last summer, or was it the summer before? Or the last birthday party, the party before, they say that a lot of the kids didn't show up, and Do you know what party I'm talking about?
At Neverland?
Yes.
Yeah, that was last summer.
All
Now,
right.
they all out in Germany already for his party. Not the entire family, but, like Rebe, she's not there. She's a Jehovah's Witness. She doesn't celebrate birthdays. Catherine is not expected to be there. But
Is this jump off out there?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. It's been about a month since I've really talked to A. Jackson, and I don't expect to really be talking to Jacksons.
Yeah, but this is good insider stuff. A month, please. Most people that we get close enough to, it's been like 4 months, except for Steve Manning, who is in and out of the family all the
Steve
time.
Called me the other day.
Yeah. And now how does he feel? Steve Manning is he's our Jackson family friend. We find out information pertaining to the Jacksons through Steve. But now you're speaking out against Michael and sharing some secrets about the Jackson family.
Well, Steve will tell you that some certain things about that family that we talk about in the book. He'll tell you about that. He doesn't have any qualms about that. But Steve is a friend of he's a friend of theirs.
Loyal, yeah.
Yeah, he's very loyal.
Excuse me, Art. Why do you say that? Because that's what you should be, Stacy.
Well, I've been loyal. Listen, and Steve will tell you this too, I'm sure. And if he's candid with you, he'll tell you, look, yeah, you loyal to them. They don't know what loyalty is. Somebody said to me, can they spell loyalty?
There you go.
So I don't have any. I don't.
But they're loyal
sleep.
to one another.
Oh, you're kidding me. That's a joke, right, Wendy? Michael got in trouble. They stood by him because they didn't want him to go to jail for 20 plus years, and the name, the legacy was in jeopardy. Right. And somebody in the family said to me, if that was Marlon or Tito, you wouldn't have seen that.
Yes, everybody would have hung out to dry.
Yes,
they would have hung out. Is it true what they say about Michael being broke?
You know what? Now, that's a good question, Wendy. He buried some money somewhere, but I got to tell you, when we talk about in the book how, like, if he signed a contract, if it was $1 million, he would make Bob announce that it was for $20 million. Everything was inflated.
Oh, wow.
So we never really knew how he tried to get Bob to pressure Forbes to say that he was the richest entertainer at one point.
Forbes magazine.
Yeah, it was not true. I spoke to a couple of investigators who they said they wanted to present this evidence in the case. The judge wouldn't allow them to present the dollar amount. And I said, he's probably spent about $100 million paying off these type of child molestation suits.
Right.
And they both, different conversations, two different law enforcement people said, no, our records, and we're going to bring this out. They thought they was going to be able to bring it out. Well over $200 million to pay off child molestation accusations.
You hear that, Art?
It's crazy. Allegedly.
How you doing? Look, Stacy Brown, the porn star Mr. Marcus is still at the airport, and that's okay because he's on his way. But I can we have one more conversation with you just to kind of wrap all this up?
Whatever you like, Wendy.
All right.
How you doing?
Please, Art. Fall back. Everybody, keep it here.
My boyfriend and I have been dating for about 4 months now, and first time we had sex, he could not get it up at all.
Maybe it's drinking. Is he a drug user? Does he take any depressants or anything?
No, nothing.
Maybe it's
How you doing?
The Wendy Williams Experience.
All right, so now we're still luxuriating in our conversation with Stacy Brown. Mr. Marcus, the porn star, is picked up his luggage and he's getting ready to get in the car. But of course, there's going to be maddening traffic as it is rush hour here in New York at this particular time. And he'll be here for the bonus hour, of which most of you all aren't here for the bonus hour. But don't worry about that. We'll be playing that interview very, very soon here on the show. But for those of you in New York, you'll get it as it goes down. And for those of you who are lucky enough to get a space in the listening room at WBLS.com, because, I do an extra hour on the show. I'm syndicated, Stacy.
I know.
And 4 hours is syndicated, then 1 hour is what we call the bonus hour. And it's just based here in New York. So it looks like we'll interview the porn star for the bonus hour. So, in the meantime, Stace, we're still here with you. Stacy's book is co-authored with Bob Jones. Both men worked deep inside the Michael Jackson camp for a long time, and it's called An Insider Story of the King of Pop, Michael Jackson, the Man Behind the Mask. When did this book become available to?
It actually hit stores about a week ago now.
Okay, very good.
But it's been available online a little bit longer. You know, they like to get a jump on things.
Now, are you or Bob doing signings for this book? In
fact, Bob does have a signing in Palm Springs tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Tomorrow or Saturday.
Okay. Well, I would imagine these signings are very difficult because the fandemonium, they want to stab you as opposed to...
Like I said, he has worshipers. He doesn't have fans.
Right. What's your motive behind this book? Did you get, I heard Martha Stewart just got a $2 million advance on a new book. Did you get a healthy book? What's your motive?
The motive is certainly not money. Because, Wendy, you probably know, Michael Jackson books don't necessarily sell. He did a book himself.
Right.
Walker didn't really sell. Catherine did a book. Catherine Jackson. Mm-hmm. LaToya's did something because of what, she talked about. So you don't go into doing a Michael Jackson book thinking you're going to, be able to retire. That's certainly not the motive. Mm-hmm. The motive is simply Bob Jones didn't have a confidentiality agreement, which is extremely rare in Hollywood, and especially rare with Michael Jackson.
Yes.
You have to sign a confidentiality agreement just to go into Neverland.
I was going to say just to visit the house.
Yeah.
Because I've been, and Michael wasn't there,
mm-hmm.
but I had to sign a confidentiality agreement before getting into the car that Michael sent to pick us up. This was years ago
mm-hmm.
when Michael needed folk again. Remember, he appeared at the Soul Train Music Awards?
Right. And see, I'm glad you mentioned that because Don Cornelius was along with MTV and Dick Clark.
Don Cornelius, how you doing? All right, stay on your game.
They all named the awards after Michael, and when the 93 allegations hit, MTV dropped him. Dick Clark dropped the name, but who stayed true to him?
Michael Jackson stayed with the Soul Train.
The Soul Train stayed with Michael Jackson,
right. Mm-hmm.
But Bob always tried to get Michael to do something with Soul Train, and Don always refused.
Well, in your book, you kind of you touch on Michael and his blackness, and that he doesn't care about black people.
Well, he has a special name that he used to use, even around people like Macaulay Culkin.
Okay.
One of his alleged lovers.
Okay.
And that was Splabu. That was his version of the N-word.
Wait, hold on, you all. There's a new word in the dictionary here on the show. Swaboo.
No, spla. S-P-L-A, boo.
One of the girls write that down. Splaboo.
Yeah.
You mother father splaboo. Oh boy, here come a bunch of splaboos.
Yeah, and
damn.
He didn't think much, and he doesn't. I mean, I doubt that has changed. He didn't think much of black people. This guy didn't even know who Michael Jordan was. Michael Jordan was as big as he is.
Yes. And so Michael Jordan at one point was in a Michael Jackson video.
Jam. And guess who told him who Michael Jordan was?
Who?
The 1993 accuser. He sent the boy out to get a basketball trading card so he could read up on who Michael Jordan was.
Wow.
Before the video. That's how self-absorbed Michael Jackson is.
Well, does he watch TV?
He watches old movies. If you've been to Neverland.
Yes.
I've been there a number of times. And you go into the library and you see all these old movies.
Videos. Yeah, movies.
Charlie Chaplin, things like that. He does have like Good Times, a whole collection of Good Times when Janet was on Good Times.
Yes.
The Penny Days.
But he doesn't turn it on to watch, Survivor or Friends or...
No, that's just not...
He's not watching B and Bobby Brown.
They should do a B and Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
But no, they did. That's why he went to court. Martin Bashir.
True indeed. Okay, so now he's going to sue. Now he's trying to sue Martin Bashir.
Oh, come on. Martin Bashir did his job. He did his job. They said he betrayed him. I don't buy that. The man did his job. You gave him 8 months of access. You didn't... Michael didn't... He turned down advice from his representatives, his business people like Bob Jones. They would never have allowed him to do that.
His relationship with Debbie Rowe.
Gosh, I wrote about this. I also write for MSNBC.com. And I said, she's his biggest, before she testified, I said she's his biggest fan, and the prosecution thinks that she's going to testify for them. Watch what happens.
Wow.
And look what happened.
Yeah.
It was a love fest.
Yeah.
And it really blew up in their face.
Brooke Shields
even says as a joke, that was interesting in that when he had Brooke Shields around, who did he have in his arms instead of Brooke Shields? Emmanuel Lewis.
Little Emmanuel, a swaboo.
A splabu.
A splabu.
Yeah.
But Emmanuel's black. At the end of the day, he's still a splabu.
Mm-hmm.
That was an exception to the rule.
Well, remember, that was around 1984, 1983. And Michael began, and Bob will tell you this, and we talk about it a little bit in the book. his whole ideals began to change mid 1980s, 86, 87, and you saw him when the Bad video first came out. And you know, Wesley Snipes, a lot of people don't know Wesley Snipes really got his start in the Bad video.
Yeah, well, we remember him in that video.
Yeah, and you know, you saw the change in the color and everything. And what's interesting about that, a lot of people, it just seems to go over some people's head. He told Oprah in that huge interview in 1993, I have vitiligo. That's why my skin is the way it is.
Okay.
A couple of years later, he interviewed with Diane Sawyer when he married Lisa Marie Presley. And she asked him about the same thing, and his answer was totally different. He said, look, I'm an artist. I change. If I see something I don't like, I change it. He says, one day I'm going to put a red dot pointing to his forehead right there. He says, I just decided to change my looks. He never said vitiligo.
Wow.
Diane used the word vitiligo, but he didn't.
Wow, interesting. Do you think that Lisa Marie saw some perhaps inappropriate behavior with children, which turned her sour to this entire situation?
Well, you know, Lisa, I don't know that she saw so much inappropriate behavior as much as she saw with kids, as much as she saw just inappropriate behavior, period, with him. He was just, Lisa Marie said that they did consummate the marriage. But what she said was it was even more telling in that he would disappear for months afterwards. You know, whenever they would get in the sack.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, because Michael needed that. He needed, not the sex. He probably needs that too. But he needed her because, you know, he was coming on the heels of the investigation in 93. And he also, Michael doesn't do anything without a motive. When you talk about motive.
Like the kiss on MTV.
Oh, come on. And she, you know, you can tell she was totally turned off about that. I had an opportunity to talk to Lisa a couple of years ago in Las Vegas. And, you know, she indicated that it was all about manipulation. And it's like the old saying, you know, what your mother tells you, listen to your mama. And her mama told her, stay away from him long before she married him. See, Lisa is like one of those people who feel like they can reclaim projects. It's like a reclamation project.
Yes.
And she felt like she could piece, you know, this guy back together. And she saw it was impossible because, you know, you can't help someone who doesn't want to help themselves. And he's the epitome of that.
Who is the mother of this second child or this third child?
Who knows? You know, and that's another thing. People just talk about lies. In the Bashir document, in his own rebuttal to the Bashir documentary, beginning of that, he says, "Oh, she's an African American woman." Now, I've seen the kids. There's nothing African American about any of those kids. In fact, the oldest kid, Prince Michael the First, looks just like Debbie Rose, like a twin. But the third one, he says in the rebuttal video, he says, "Oh yeah, the mother's an African American woman, very nice lady, etc., etc." Later on in the video, he says, I don't know who she is. She doesn't know who I am. I don't know if she's black or she's white or whatever.
Wow.
In the same video, his video.
Yeah.
You know, people overlook that.
Straight. You ever see Michael Jackson Chief?
His who?
Did you ever see him get with the Chief?
Oh, you know what? I've heard stories about heroin. I've heard stories about other things, but I've never heard stories about that.
What about Coke?
You know, I've heard that. I've heard that too. I've heard that he does that along with he'll drink a whole bottle of Jack Daniels, and he'll, you know, it's like Scarface.
Well,
be in his face in the desk.
Who knew?
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking that, you know, pills, and I mean, this is out of left field that I expected you to say no, but, you know,
no, I don't know that firsthand. But I've heard that enough. I've heard that from people who would know, who would know, and who's and still to this day very concerned about him.
What does Michael feel about Oprah Winfrey?
He does. You know, they reached out to Oprah Winfrey. We talk about this in the book too. Okay. After the interview, they've been reaching out to Oprah for years. Oprah has totally turned her back. Oprah's like that Princess Diana. That they identified Michael as an opportunist. They didn't want nothing to do with him. You know, he went on this whole thing about, you know, me and Princess Diana are best of friends. They met one time.
Okay.
And they would call Bob. He would have Bob and other people call, you know, England. And they would say, well, what does he want with her? Her representatives, what does he want? And of course they would say, well, you know, he just wants to say, you know, speak with her. No, they barred him from coming to her funeral too.
No,
because even the Queen said no. He's going to try and use this to propel his career. No, Michael's an opportunist.
You know, has he ever sat with Oprah? I'm thinking, has he ever sat with Oprah?
You know, in that one interview we saw at Neverland.
Oh, that's right.
That big interview.
Yeah.
But I think it's not because it's not because he doesn't want to be bothered with Oprah. Oprah's powerful. Oprah's like you. You're the Oprah of radio. A little bit more cutting edge, but
Yes,
that's why I was thrilled. They said Wendy would have you. Like, oh my God,
my God,
little old me.
What? You said that about little old me?
Please, but
Clutch my pearls.
But Oprah does. Oprah is listen to this guy. Oprah is an icon. She's an icon too. But see, Michael, nobody else is an icon in his eyes.
Liz Taylor, Diana Ross.
That's bought. That's a friendship that was bought and paid for. That's as phony as a $3 bill.
Whore. She takes the diamonds and in exchange.
Wendy knows it. You know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes.
And I listen to you and you say, is it gossip or is it true? It's true. Wendy knows Wendy knows what she's talking about. And it's so funny because a very prominent reporter, very prominent. You don't get any more prominent than her. Told me that Liz told her that Michael, he buys me hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of jewelry at a time. Yeah, I'm his friend.
Yeah, and doesn't ask for sex. Can't be that.
Oh, please, if you ask me, I think that she taught him how to have sex. If you ask me. But
Diana Ross, because we only have another minute.
Splaboo.
One word. Not Miss Ross.
Yeah, she's not the boss. Not to him.
She's a splaboo.
Yeah. I kid you not.
I want to thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
And I wish you well with this book and your future endeavors. I'm trying to think if there's anything I forgot to ask you. No, you can. Affiliates. I need you to hold on for 1 second. Will Smith, you said? Affiliates, drop out if you want. We're going to continue with our conversation. You can choose because we're about to talk about Will Smith. Go.
Yeah, Michael was with Sony.
Yes.
And Men in Black was with Sony.
Yes.
And Michael went to Sony, the head of Sony, and said, look, I want to do Will Smith's role. Talking about part 2. He blew up in part 1, right? Okay. He wants to do Men in Black 2. And they said, no, well, we got Will. He says, I will do it free if you get rid of Will. So tell me about loyalty. Tell me about black thing. Yeah. Whatever. No.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't
count.
count.
Pure than a film dog.
Shut up.
As an alien.
There were books about that Jermaine and Rebe wrote, and Michael tried to stop the publication.
Oh gosh, Wendy, I'm glad you asked me about that. And especially in Jermaine's case, I was pissed. That's when I was angry. That was some years ago. Me and Jermaine spent months working on this book.
What was it revealing that Michael's tried to stop?
It did talk about some deep things about Michael. And it talked about the drug use that we talked about. And they had Family Day. The Jacksons have Family Day.
Yeah, we've heard.
And this time it was at Havenhurst. And Jermaine has this little office up in Havenhurst. And Michael goes up in the office and he takes the manuscript. And next thing I know, I get a call. Jermaine gets a call. You guys can't do this book. I can't do his voice. And, you can't do it. I'll sue you. I'll sue the whole family and you. Michael wrote me a letter too. And then, come to find out, he gathers all these publishers at a hotel up in Connecticut with Jermaine and my proposal. He took our names off it and put his name on it.
Wow.
By Michael Jackson.
Mike.
That's Michael Jackson.
And took out the drug inferences, took out some of your inferences.
Yeah.
And that, wow. Well, hold on. There's one thing. Speaking of his voice, wait, Elisa's trying to write.
That his voice is really deep because everyone says.
Is it true that Michael's voice is really deep?
Lisa Marie said that as well. It's true. Michael's always in costume and he's always in character, is what I say. He's always, I think he goes to bed in character. He is. He feels like it's when you do something long enough, it becomes you.
Yes.
And it has become him. He didn't talk like that. He didn't talk like that. Yes. Come on. He listen to look at his brothers. Yeah. Look at his family line.
Right.
But this guy, listen, the bottom line is he's a phony.
Is that a wig, a weave, hair clips?
Yeah, it's hair pieces that he wears. Michael doesn't really have hair. He has these pieces that he wears, and sometimes they're very long.
Well, because he's a man, he's a bit older now. Does he have like that stadium balding, where there's no hair on the top and just the hair around the sides?
If you see Michael, I made this revelation at the when he got inducted as a solo act into the Hall of Fame a few years back, 2001. Mm-hmm. And I was right here with him, just as close as you and I are. And it dawned on me, he looks like a 90-year-old person. I mean, he's shriveled here, and drawn, and and the hair. Yeah, if he moves it a certain way, you can see the spots in the hair.
Wow,
so he's screwed up.
Pepsi commercial. Hello.
Shut up, Art.
Well, Art, they took some meat from here to ear.
Yes.
To put it on his nose.
They took ear meat and used it for his nose.
Mm-hmm. You got to read The Man Behind the Mask.
I've got to read this book. It's called Michael Jackson, The Man Behind the Mask, an insider story of the King of Pop, authored by Bob Jones and our guest today, Stacy Brown. Stacy, thank you so much.
It's a pleasure, Wendy.
Our show is your show. Come back anytime.
It's a pleasure.
All right.
Wendy.
Thank you. Okay, now everybody, we're going to go into a break and we'll come back. Mr. Marcus probably won't be here in time for that break. So we'll gossip. That's it. Okay. Thank you.
It's Wendy, man.
I want to fuck good at you, watch you eat each other, like feed off your face, get another woman up, hire a hooker, get some coke. Let's do it.
The Wendy Williams Experience.